Good afternoon, sir. So my name is Ivy Grace Kalongsod. So today we are here together with Miss Katamora to discuss the chapter 4, specifying a purpose in research, questions and hypotheses. So introduction. Purpose statements, research questions, and hypotheses provide critical information to readers about the direction of a research study. So they also raise questions that the research will answer through the data collection process. So in this chapter, you will learn about purpose statements, research questions, and hypotheses, and how to write them for both quantitative and qualitative research. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to distinguish among purpose statements, research questions, hypotheses, and objectives. Describe why these statements and questions are important. Write quantitative purpose statements, research questions, and hypotheses. Write qualitative purpose statements and research questions. The purpose statement. It is a statement that advances the overall direction or focus for the study. So this kind of statement is designed to study about the importance of this statement. So research questions. So are questions in quantitative or qualitative research that narrow the purpose statement to specific questions that researchers seek to answer. Researchers typically develop them before identifying the methods of study. So example, the types of data to be collected, analyzed, and interpreted in a study. So these questions in quantitative and qualitative research is seeking only on the answers, which is to investigate about of this type of research and also to determine the methods of this research. So research questions are found in both quantitative and qualitative research, but their elements differ depending on the type of research you are conducting. So hypotheses are statements in quantitative research in which the investigator makes a prediction or a conjecture about the outcome of a relationship among attributes or characteristics. You will find this hypothesis stated at the beginning of a study, typically at the end of the introduction. So hypothesis is to provide a clear and testable statement or prediction about the relationship between variables or the outcome of the study. Independent variables. So is an attribute or characteristic that influence or affects an outcome or dependent variable. So researchers study independent variables to see what effect or influence they have on the outcome. For instance, consider this research question. So here, do students who spend more instructional time in class on math have higher math scores than students who spend less time? So here, we see that the independent variable says time on math instruction, so that is what it means. And the another is dependent variable, which means it says about the math scores. So here are the 4 types of independent variables. So we have 4 variable, which is measured variable, control variable, treatment variable, and moderating variable. So here the definition of the measured variable is an independent variable that is measured in a study. So it says here that the independent variable is only measured in the study. And so the type of this variable measurement is the categorical or continuous variable that is measured or observed in the study. So this measured variable is, it says here that it is continuous variables and it is measured or observed in the study. So the use in is experiments and surveys. So the measured variable is only used in the experiments and surveys. And the example of the measured variables is age of a child. So this is performance on a test, attitudes assessed on a survey. So the next is control variables. So here is the definition. So control variable is a special type of independent variable that is of secondary interest and is neutralized through statistical or design procedures. So here the type of the control variables is a variable not directly measured. So the control variable is not directly measured but controlled. It is also controlled the statistical or research design procedures. So it used in experiments, correlational studies, and it have example about the control variables, which is often demographic variables such as age, gender, race, socioeconomic level. So treatment variables is an independent variable manipulated by the researcher. So the type of this treatment variable is a categorical variable activity manipulated by the researcher and composed of two or more groups. So it used in experiments, and the example of the treatments is classroom learning. So one group receives standard lecture and one group receives discussions. So researcher assigns students to groups and thus manipulates group memberships. So the last is moderating variables. So it is a special type of independent variable that is of secondary interest and combines with another independent variable to influence the dependent variable. So the type of this variable measurement about the moderating variable is a categorical or continuous variable measured or observed as it interacts with other variables. So it used in experiments. So the moderating variables is have an example also, and this is have the example, which is the demographic variables such as age, gender, race, or socioeconomic level. A measured variable such as performance or attitude, or a manipulated variable such as classroom instruction. Intervening variables. So intervening variables is an attribute or characteristic that stands between the independent and dependent variables and exercises an influence on the dependent variable apart from the independent variable. Independable variable is a variable that is manipulated or controlled by the researcher in an experiment. So example, the use of technology in the classroom. So in this example, the independent variable is the use of technology. So the researcher wants to investigate how the use of technology in the classroom affects students' academic performance. So that is independent variable. So next is intervening variable. A variable that helps explain the relationship between two other variables and acts as a link or mechanism that explains how or why the independent variable affects the independent variable. So example, the number of hours a student studies, so that is independent variable, so may influence their understanding of the material, which is intervening variable, so which in turn affects their grade, so that is dependent variable. Theories and testing of variables. This theory deals with humans in unpredictable situations. A theory in quantitative research repeatedly the relationship of a positive effect holds true. So examples of theories include a theory about how students learn, a theory about what motivates people, a theory about how adults learn, a theory about relationship styles, and a theory about personality. So theories as bridge between independent and dependent variables. So just like in the bridge. So a theory can be seen as a bridge explaining the relationship between the independent and dependent variables. So that's the end of my report. So let's proceed to the next reporter.
Good day, everyone. I am Naomi Katamura, and I am the second reporter for this chapter, which is Chapter 4, Specifying a Purpose and Research Questions and the Hypothesis. And now, let's talk about writing quantitative hypotheses. Similar to research questions, hypotheses narrow the purpose statement in quantitative research. But hypotheses advance a prediction about what the researcher expects to find. The researcher can make this prediction because of past studies in literature that suggest certain outcomes. Also, hypotheses are not used to describe a single variable as found in the case of research questions. They also are not used as frequently as research questions, because they represent a formal statement of relationships and the prediction of the relationship may not be known. Here are some following guidelines in writing quantitative hypotheses. First is that state the variables in this order. First position, independent. Second position, dependent. And third position is control. Next is that if you compare groups in your hypothesis, explicitly state the groups. If variables are related, specify the relationship among the variables. The next is, make a prediction about changes you expect in your groups, such as less or more, favorable or no changes. You will then test this prediction using statistical procedures. And lastly is, you may state information about the participants and the site of the study, but this information may not be necessary if it repeats information stated in your purpose statement. There are two types of hypothesis: the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. First is the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis is the most traditional form of writing a hypothesis. Null hypotheses make predictions that of all possible people whom researchers might study, There is no relationship between independent and dependent variables, or no difference between groups of an independent variable or a dependent variable. To study this hypothesis, you would select a sample of all possible people and draw conclusions from the statistical analysis of this sample for the population. A null hypothesis might begin with the praise groups or variables. Next is the alternative hypothesis. In contrast to the null hypothesis, you may write an alternative hypothesis. You will use an alternative hypothesis if you think there will be a difference based on results from past research or an explanation or theory reported in the literature. Non-directional alternative hypothesis. So in a non-directional alternative hypothesis, the researcher predicts a change, a difference, or a relationship for variables in population, but does not indicate whether the direction of this prediction will be positive or negative, or greater or less. The non-directional alternative is not as popular as the directional alternative because the researcher does not take a stand about the direction of the relationship of the variables. And now, let's differentiate the quantitative and qualitative purpose statements and research questions. In quantitative research, hypotheses are used, while in qualitative research, hypotheses are not used. Instead, inquirers use only research questions. In quantitative research, researchers often test theories, broad explanations that predict the results from relating variables, while in qualitative research, the term variable is not used, and instead, the inquirer seeks to gather information on a single concept. In quantitative research, the investors employs a close-ended stance by identifying variables and selecting instruments to collect data before the study begins. While in qualitative research, theories are typically not tested. In quantitative research, research questions and hypotheses do not change during the study, while in qualitative research, the inquirer uses more of an open-ended stance and often changes the phenomenon being studied or at least allowed to emerge during the study. In quantitative research, investigators seek to measure differences and the magnitude of those differences among two or more groups or measure changes over time in individuals, while in qualitative research, inquirers do not compare groups or relate variables. The central phenomenon in qualitative research. A central component of both the purpose statement and the research questions in qualitative research is the central phenomenon. The central phenomenon is the concept or a process explored in qualitative research. For example, as a concept, it could be the ethnic identity of Chinese American immigrants. And as a process, it might be the process of negotiation by a female superintendent with her principals. As shown in Figure 4.7, one way to visualize this difference is by contrasting the explanation of an outcome or the dependent variable by an independent variable. Next is the emerging process of qualitative research. An emerging process indicates that the intent or purpose of the study and the question asked by the researchers may change during the process of inquiry based on feedback or responses from participants. Questions and purposes may change because the qualitative inquirer allows the participants to set the direction, and in doing so, the researcher learns the participant's view rather than imposing his or her own view on the research situation. One question often asked is if this means that you will be asking different questions of different people in your study. This may well be the case in qualitative research. Remember that the intent of qualitative research is to understand and explore the central phenomenon, not to develop a consensus of opinion from the people you study. An illustration of the emerging process is shown in Figure 4.8. As you can see, the process of asking questions is a dynamic process. Researchers may start with initial questions, shape them during initial data collection, and further change them because of multiple visits to the field to gather data. Revision may continue throughout both data collection and analysis in a qualitative project. During this process, the overall direction of the study will change, and authors will rewrite their purpose statement and research questions. So next slide is all about writing qualitative research questions. Research questions in qualitative research help narrow the purpose of a study into specific questions. Qualitative research questions are open-ended general questions that the researcher would like answered during the study. So here are some guidelines or the guidelines in writing qualitative research questions. So first is to expect your qualitative questions to change and to emerge during a study to reflect the participants' view of the central phenomenon and your growing understanding of it. The next is ask only few general questions. 5 to 7 questions are enough to permit the participants to share information. Using only a few questions places emphasis on learning information from participants rather than learning what the researcher seeks to know. The next is ask questions that use neutral, exploratory language and refrain from conveying an expected direction. For example, use action verb such as generate, discover, understand, describe, and explore instead of words conveying cause and effect relationships such as affect, relate, compare, determine, cause, and influence. And lastly, design and write 2 types of qualitative research questions, the central question and sub-question. Next is the sub-questions. In addition to a central question, qualitative researchers pose sub-questions. These sub-questions refine the central question into sub-questions to be addressed in the research. These sub-questions possess the same quality as central questions, but they provide greater specificity to the question in the study. Types of sub-question. The issue sub-questions and the procedural sub-questions. Issue sub-questions are questions that narrow the focus of the central question into specific questions the researcher seeks to learn from participants in the study, while the procedural sub-questions is the alternative form of writing sub-questions. It indicates the step to be used in analyzing the data in qualitative study. And that's all. Thank you.